Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
I hope they don't find out I'm here. They might stop me talking. Yeah. All right. Minister, it's very important to debate this issue here tonight. And I've had so many people in Kerry who were actually perished with the cold when their houses that were basically heated by electricity lost power. Can you imagine young families with babies trying to heat a bottle for them? And, you know, simple things became an awful ordeal. Electric pumps didn't work, water pumps didn't work because of the electricity being out. Now, in times gone by, it wouldn't have been so bad because you could boil the kettle of water up on the stove or hang it in the crane like my grandmother did, and it was boiling all the time, and she even had the door open. But this whole thing is gone mad. I mean, the whole thing is overkill. I mean, they're advised to take the chimneys out of the houses. And it's totally and absolutely wrong because the chimney was the most important component of the house. It was there to take the smoke out, but it was actually there as well to take the foul air out. None of this is needed because there's plenty of insulation in the houses that are being built of today. But to think that in Kilgarvan, I passed over through the village, and you have a scenario where the roofs are taken off of 3 council houses that are void and they're vacant, and there's people trying to get into them. But the roofs are taken off to take out the chimney. They have to take off the back side of the roof to get the chimney out, and this is what they're ordered to do. And this is to get the house fitted and ready for the next tenants. But this is the delay. In Guinea-Will, it took 5 years to get 3 houses reinstated because the department have to, it is one of the things that they demand, that the chimney is taken out before the houses made livable again. It's actually unbelievable that houses that were lived in till the other day are the chimneys being taken out of them, and just cost any amount of money. I must presume it costs at least €200,000, and in 3 houses this would actually build another new house, no bother in the world, maybe 1.5. So common sense, I'm asking you now, we'll forget about the way it came about, but I want you to rectify this. There's no need in the wide world, and if you think of people that all of a sudden in the snow and the frost, they had electric heating all around them, everything was a button. But if they had the whole simple stove, they could boil the kettle, they could fry or boil an egg, or fry a rasher and a sausage, they wouldn't be hungry. But they were cold and miserable, and some of them didn't even have water. And can you imagine, down on top of that, they had no access till the Kerry Mountain Rescue Team came to their assistance. It's unbelievable what's happening now today, Minister. And I'm asking this new government, and I wish you well in your post, and I wish all the ministers here well in their new post. And it is important for the sake of the people of Ireland that he do well. But common sense must prevail here, and forget this racket or caper of taking the chimneys out of the houses because they're insulated enough, but please leave them something in times of an emergency when they need food and when they need to boil the kettle or to boil a pot of spuds or whatever. Leave them something as a backup.
Minister to respond, please. Minister O'Sullivan.
I just want to say at the outset, I want to thank Deputy Healy-Rae for raising this. It gives me the first opportunity I've had to, I suppose, say that my heart goes out to those people right across the country, especially the Western Seaboard, who have, for the last almost 2 weeks now, many of them have gone without either power or running water or just the bare essentials. And I can't even begin for a second to imagine how difficult that is for them. Luckily, where I am in West Cork, wasn't hit as bad as other areas. Clearly, some of Kerry was hit pretty bad as well, and I think that's something that we have to take cognizance of and acknowledge. But just as well, I just want to take this opportunity to thank wholeheartedly the emergency services, the local authority staff, the emergency staff, fire crew, medical staff, right throughout the board. It's absolutely incredible the response that they have put up to this emergency. And I want to particularly pay attention to some of the nurses and the staff of some of our hospitals right across the country. On the night of the storm, before the worst winds hit, in hospitals right throughout Ireland, and in Clonakilty Community Hospital, in Bantry Hospital, in CUH, and I'm sure hospitals right throughout Kerry, staff and nurses, they got out their mattresses, they stayed overnight to ensure that those people in those hospitals had the best care, and I just want to take this opportunity to acknowledge that. And just in relation to your own point, Deputy Healy-Rae, which you've put across incredibly well, I'm sure there are a lot of people right up the Western Seaboard who did have fireplaces or stove, for example. We're very glad that they had them. Look, electric heat pumps are certainly the way to go in terms of electrifying heat and efficient homes. But that's at a point where we have a steady and reliable grid and a reliable supply of electricity. But there are people right across the country who are glad that they had stoves and fireplaces, and I think you've put that eloquently. But just to say to your point at the outset, and I'll explain the technicality, there is no requirement from this department at least to remove chimneys, and that's something that's very much set in stone, and I'll explain that later. And here's I suppose the technicality of it. All new dwellings must comply with building regulations, the aim of which is to provide for the safety and welfare of people in and about buildings, and in addition to achieve a 60-year durability for all key elements. The building regulations set out the minimum requirements for the construction of new buildings and certain works to existing buildings. The Climate Action Plan commits to reducing the use of fossil fuels in buildings and that the energy performance requirements for new buildings are set out in accordance with the Nearly Zero Energy Building, or the NZEB requirements of the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, EPBD. NZEB means a building that has a very high energy performance with nearly zero or very low amount of energy required covered to a very significant extent by energy from renewable sources. As NZEB dwellings have very high fabric performance, the heat will typically be retained for a longer period in an NZEB dwelling than in average dwelling. Building regulations require new buildings to achieve an overall energy and carbon emissions performance which is calculated using the Dwelling Energy Assessment Performance, or the DEAP, published by SCAI. And here's the important point to your point, Deputy Healy-Rae. Secondary heating systems such as single-room solid fuel stoves using renewable wood can still be installed in new housing under building regulations once the overall energy performance requirement for that dwelling is achieved. So that speaks to your point. Overall, modern highly insulated houses retain the heat for much longer than traditional uninsulated houses and are more resilient during power cuts, whilst at the same time reducing carbon emissions from the built environment. With regard to the retrofit of local authority homes in 2021, a new holistic approach was applied to the local authority energy efficient retrofit programme, designed around the programme for government commitment led by the Department for Environment, Climate Action and Communications. And I will continue with that response once you've come in again, Deputy Healy-Rae.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the reply. But I suppose, and I wish to join with you in thanking all the emergency services and all the people that were out in the dark and the wet, night and day, trying to get the electricity going again, and all the people in the health services who especially visited all people in the home helps and everything, and all the great work that they did. But look, my point is, and like you were saying to me that there's no regulations on new houses, that they're not being stopped or putting in, stoves or whatever. But the facts are that to achieve the BER rating, and the bank are looking for that, whatever it is of their business, in order to have people get the loan, they have to, in order to achieve the BER rating that they are demanding, you can't have a stove, or you can't have a chimney. That is the hard facts. And the other thing is, why is it that the department won't give the money to the local authority, in our case, Kerry County Council, to retrofit the houses? They won't qualify for the retrofit grant if they don't take out the chimney. That's what I'm asking you to deal with here today, and not have this scenario going on that's taking over 12 months. First of all, the house is idle for 12 months to draw down the grant, and one of the implications of that is that you have to take out the chimney. That'll have to be removed. I'm depending on you now and your government to sort this out, because it's costing double, triple what these three houses could have got a rub of paint and do a few necessary things to them, and that they've been rolling in after at least 2 months. Now they're there 12 months or more, and how long more will this take? Because this won't happen in a couple of days. The house is gutted, 3 houses gutted inside Kilgarvan village to take the chimneys out of them. Please stop it, Minister. And I'm asking to do just that.
Thank you, Deputy Minister, to respond.
Thank you, Deputy Healy-Rae. And again, I take your point. And look, the response is here, and it's quite clear to me in terms of the energy efficient retrofit programme. This is the EERP. And I'll read it out again because I think this should answer your question. Works eligible under the Department's revised ERP include attic cavity wall insulation or external wall insulation where required, window and door replacement, heat pump installation, as well as ancillary and associated works. And here's the line again: the removal of chimneys is not required by this department. And that's it. Look, we'll send you a note on that.
Please.
This further underlines it, Deputy Healy-Rae. Building regulations are performance-based and technology neutral. There is nothing preventing new dwellings from including fireplaces or chimneys, and it is possible to comply with building regulations when these are installed. And that's pretty clear, and we can send you a further note on that. New rated homes are highly insulated and will retain heat for longer than traditional poorly insulated houses. There are also multiple benefits during normal operation of improved comfort, improved indoor air quality and carbon emission reductions. Local authorities, supported by the National Emergency Coordination Group, are coordinating a local level humanitarian assistance response to the needs of people who have significantly been impacted by the storm. More than 280 emergency response hubs have been set up in the counties most affected by service outages. Emergency response hubs are assisting people with basic needs such as water, hot food, phone charging, broadband access and shower facilities. A key focus is on ensuring the welfare of vulnerable or isolated people, making sure supports or resources are directed to where they are most needed. And look, just to conclude, Deputy Healy-Rae, you've made your point well. You've outlined the difficulties that people in Kerry and right throughout the Western Seaboard are having. I know, and as you outlined, there were many people who were happy that they had a stove of some sort, that they were able to at least heat water. But it's pretty clear there in black and white. There's nothing required by the department that says chimneys have to be removed or that they can't be installed once it's compliant.
Thank you. Please. Thank you, Deputy Healy-Rae. That's your question time. We move now to Deputy Frank Feehan. Second topic.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.